Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of my DIY comic tutorials. In part 1, I created the cover for my 6x6 comic book, and in part 2, I hope to make the inserts of my comics. So for the inserts, I thought I would pull out my Kaitlyn Lizzardi Sizzix Thinlits Traveler's Notebook die set, and I thought I would use this larger die. For my comic inserts, I pulled out my watercolor pad. This is 190 GSM paper. I wouldn't exactly use this for watercolor, but its quality is good enough that you could color on it and stamp on it, and that's usually what I use it for. So I went ahead and I folded this paper in half, and I figured that you could pretty much get 2 inserts out of the one A4 page. So I went ahead and butted up the line on the die against the fold, not on the fold, but against the fold. Remember, anything that touches that cut line will cut. You just want to place it just against it. I'm using my washi tape here to hold it in place, and I'm going to send it through the Big Shot. So it comes out of the Big Shot like this. You just pull the washi tape and you get a perfect insert for your traveler's notebook or your comic. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing here and get a second insert from that A4 piece of paper. Okay, so I've cut a few here, and you can cut as many as you like. On the side here, I have a 12x6 piece of paper that is the leftover of the backing that I attached to the cover, and I'm just testing how I want the inside of the comic to look. Now, the way it's looking now, it's looking very empty, and so what I thought I'd do is bring in the layered cityscape and a stamped image that had been heat embossed, and I thought that this made the comic look more full and really interesting, as opposed to just leaving the inside of the comic black. Of course, the other thing you could do is line the inside of the comic with scrapbooking paper. You could also line the inserts with scrapbooking paper. You can do a whole lot of things, but what I'm trying to do today is make your own comic book out of stamps, and I'm going to try my hand at drawing out some superheroes. So I looked into my stash. These are 2 superhero stamp sets that I've had in my collection for quite a while. The first one is a Fiskars stamp. This is from 2013, and I'm going to put the name of it. I don't even know what the name of it is. I'm going to put the name of it on the screen and on my blog, so please check that out. The second one is an MFT stamp. I think it's called Your Super, and it is one that I've used before. I've made birthday cards with this. This is a great stamp to have. I've got both the dies and the stamp, and today I'm just going to be using the stamp. And so what I'm going to do with these 3 inserts, I'm going to go ahead and design a comic. I'm going to start out by grabbing my Stampaholic Nano, and I'm going to be flicking between my mini stamp pad and this Nano because some of the stamps here are quite large, the large speech bubbles. I don't have a stamp block large enough, so I'm going to use my Nano for this, and I'm using my archival ink, and I'm just going to try and create some patterns with these really awesome stamps. Now, I never read comics as a girl, but everyone's familiar with how comics are full of speech bubbles and stars and pow and bam and all these amazing sentiments. So I'm just going to go ahead and have a play with each of the stamp and really showcase how they could be used. So for the left hand side of this insert, I decided to use the speech bubble in 3 areas, and I thought that looked really good there. This insert on the right hand side, I put the shield with the star in the corner, and then because I had a star there, my eyes were drawn to this set of stars, large and small, and so I decided to put them along the bottom on the left hand side, and just like that my insert was done. I thought it looked really lovely. And because this first insert is going to be the front cover and the back covered, I decided to use this pretty little girl in a cape as the back cover of my comic inserts. For the next insert, I decided to use this arrow, and I was thinking of Thor for this page, which is why I went for the arrows. I stamped one in each of the corners, and then I decided to put the set of stars in the last corner. I really loved the stars, so I just kept going with them, and then I mixed them with this other star, which is like a scribbly star. I love how the pattern in that star is filled with scribble lines, and I just continued to fill out that page with the other stamp set, and I just alternated between that stamp set and the stars, and then I put a thunderbolt in just to break it up. For the last page in that insert, I went for this speech bubble with clouds coming out of it, I guess, steam clouds maybe, and that one was done really quickly. For the next one, I love this You Rock stamp, and I thought it looked really good with the 100% Superstar. And then I went on to the sentiment stamps, and for them I could use my normal stamping block. And so I grabbed the one that said Super and used that on the left hand side, and then I grabbed the POW and used that on the right hand side of this insert. And for the final page, I went for the word BAM, and I just put it in that formation, and I thought I would fill it in with the stars at the top and at the bottom. I had so much fun designing this comic insert, and I love, once I put all the inserts together, I love how it looks. So at this stage, I'm really happy, but I'm not sure how this comic is gonna read. Like, I haven't thought of a story. So I thought I would just press ahead and add color next, because color usually helps me figure out a story. So I go for this really inexpensive watercolor set. The reason why I choose this is because it's got many shades in each of the color families. So I love going from light to medium to dark, and I really just play. I know with comic books that you can use a whole lot of really strong, vibrant, neon almost colors, and so I just choose colors that kind of speak to me at that time. And because I am using watercolor paper, it is taking the watercolor nicely. I love this one. This one is a combination of green and yellow, and although I started off thinking Thor, I think I ended up thinking Hulk for that one, so you'll see how that one turns out a little later on. I seem to gravitate towards yellow to the stars, and because this paint is also a little bit, it's not an expensive brand, it feels a little bit chalky, so it went over the stamped archival images a little bit, and if that bothers you, you could just go ahead and add and go over those edges with a black gel pen. I love this combination of blue and yellow, really pretty. And I just seem to gravitate towards that neon yellow. It's really, really fun to use, and it's really easy to just put color down. And when it came to the words, I really wanted to use my alcohol pens so that I could use the bullet point of that pen. I then used the flat part of the pen to outline the edges. And the paper was thick enough that it didn't soak too much through the paper, although you can see it in some areas. So I just decided to do it lightly and sparingly and not soak the paper all the way through with the alcohol markers. Once again, I don't mind using those bold colors. This is a comic after all. And these clouds got completed with a yellow alcohol, and I did go over some of the lightning bolts with yellow. I then went back into the shield here, and because I had the fine tip of the alcohol marker, I was able to complete the shield in red, and then I thought it would look really nice if I added a little bit of gray to the inside, and that completes that page really nicely. And once I start putting the comic together, I'm just loving having it in my hand. The last thing to do was this little superhero girl, and so I just did a very, very basic coloring. I kind of copied the Supergirl costume. I gave her a red cape and a blue outfit and a yellow belt. The skin, I don't have many markers that are in skin color, so I have this barely peach. So it's got to be what it's got to be. And then I used this brown, really light brown for her hair. And my comic is coming together so amazingly. And so here we go. It is now time to put everything together. My cover is dry and looking really good. I have a little bit of room at the top there, and so what I decided to do was use this Marvel washi at the very top here, and I think it gives a little bit of interest and a little bit of color and the correct theme, and I love how it looks against the black cardstock, and I love how it looks with the cityscape against it. I am adhering everything down with double-sided sticky tape, and just like that, the cover is coming together. I love it. And next I'm deciding how I'm going to attach the inserts. I did go for the staple method. You can do any method you want, but I have a long arm stapler for this reason exactly. So just like that, I'm just reiterating the staples so they don't come apart. And just like that, my comic is coming together so well. I love this. So next I turn my attention to how I'm going to decorate the front of the comic. I pull out this sticker set that came with the Marvel scrapbooking kit, and you've just got to use it. I decided to add Iron Man right in a portion where there's a little bit of a bubble or a buckle in the paper, and so I'm just hiding some of the imperfections with these. These stickers are 3D and they are so amazing. They look like they're popping out of the page. So I add Iron Man, and then I add Hulk, then I add Spider-Man, and last of all, I add the amazing Thor. Poor Captain America doesn't feature on the front, but he will go on the inside in a while. I love that little comic up the top right-hand corner. I think that's awesome. All comic books have that little like comic symbol. Here is Captain America. He is going to come in on the inside. And I love this little section here that says that the comic is going to be 12 cents. Thank you very much. Good times they were when they were that cheap. I think I saw a comic at my local secondhand bookstore for $10 and I was like, whoa, that's so expensive. I love this chipboard here that has all the characters together. It made me giggle and I thought it looked like a real comic where you had a cluster of them all in the one section. Now I'm turning my attention to the inserts of the comic. I decided to use the face stickers as a starting point for each of the pages, and then I was going to fill in the body by drawing them out. So I just started adding stickers down, and then halfway through I realized that there were enough pages to put each of the character on their own double layout. And then I decided that what I would do is I was going to have the superhero on one page and then have his title on the other page. And I came across something that was really interesting, which I will point out to you in a little while. But right now what I'm doing is I'm starting off with Thor. I have this image from the net which I am attempting to copy, and I start off first with a light pencil layer trying to get everything in, and then I go over with a biro once I'm happy with the measurements and where everything is. I also decided to pick out some of the stickers that represent each of the heroes and put them somewhere on the double page layout. Pretty happy with that. That looks like a good Thor. Just deleting all my pencil lines there. And here is where I decided to put the titles of each of the superheroes. So Thor is the Mighty Thor. Next I'm moving on to Hulk, and here is the picture I have of him. I always laugh at Hulk. Hulk seems like he has such a tiny little head and a really big body. So I totally over exaggerated his body compared to his head. And I don't mind. I love how it looks. I feel like I'm getting better with my drawing. I'm slowly starting to put in body parts first and then connecting the body parts out together. So just starting out with simple shapes like boxes and circles and then going into the detail. I was going to try and attempt the crutch area around that 100% rock star, but then I just decided to leave that area be and just go around it. Going in now with my black biro, and love that jagged look of his jeans. That's so fun. The muscles are amazing on this guy. Very fun to draw. So here comes his sticker on the side there. He actually gets 2. And moving on now to Iron Man. Iron Man was kind of easy to draw in the end. I think I have just this way of drawing superheroes. So he gets his red suit. Looks like he's wearing underpants on the outside, and then that yellow chest plate, his beating heart kind of life source there. That's easy. He's just a red and yellow suit, and he is the invincible Iron Man. And I kind of stuffed up here with his sentiment. I should have made it more towards the left, but I will go back later and fix that up. And so I go back and I realized that I had missed Hulk. So Hulk is the Incredible Hulk. Spider-Man is the Amazing Spider-Man. And poor Captain America doesn't get a description. So he is just Captain America. So I put Captain America, and I wonder what happened with that. I wonder why they didn't give him a descriptor as such. So now I'm moving on to Spider-Man, and he's looking, and he was quite easy to draw as well. Looking a bit skinny there, but you know, it's fine. And these do look pretty good once I color them in. Last of all is Captain America. I think I have the same kind of, I draw the same kind of body for the guys. They kind of have muscles, big muscles, and then a really tiny waist, except the Hulk, he was the only one that was different. So Captain America, he's got his shield and his gloves, which I kind of stuffed up on, but that's okay. His red and white garter belt, I think. And for the girl on the back, this is Supermom. I decided that she's going to be Supermom. That helps the team out in the end, because all moms are super, right? And I decided to pepper her with some stars. So for the front title page, I wanted to put Meet the Heroes, but I ended up using up pretty much all my E's here, so I did not have enough E's for meet. I just left it as the heroes, and I put the postage stamps of each of the faces of the heroes along the edges of the page. So I'm looking at my timer now, and part 2 is coming on to 20 minutes. So what I thought I'd do is I'd make one more video so I can do a walkthrough with every single character once I've colored them in, plus show you something else I did as another option for making your own comic books. So I hope you come back and join me for part 3.